Welcome back to Trapped by the Clock. This is part of our full audiobook style reading, so if you missed previous chapters, be sure to check them out. The rules governing trucking assume it operates like any other job, structured, predictable, and easy to regulate. But trucking isn't like working in an office or a factory. It's an industry shaped by constant change, traffic, weather, freight availability, and delays at shipping docks. Yet, truckers are expected to follow rigid, one size fits all regulations that don't account for the reality of the road. This chapter explores why trucking is fundamentally different from traditional industries and why flexibility isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity for safety, efficiency, and the well being of drivers. Chapter 4: Why Trucking is Different from Other Industries and Requires Flexibility. 1. The unpredictability of the road. Unlike a 9 to 5 job where employees clock in at the same time every day, truckers face constant uncertainty in their daily schedules. A driver may plan to complete a delivery in 8 hours, but real world factors often derail that plan. Challenges truckers face that other workers don't. Traffic congestion. A trucker may start their day intending to cover 500 miles, but a multi-car accident or rush hour gridlock can cut that distance in half. Long wait times at shipping receiving docks. Many shippers and receivers operate inefficiently, forcing drivers to wait hours before they can load or unload freight. However, the HOS clock keeps running, leaving drivers with fewer available driving hours. Weather conditions. A storm can slow travel speeds significantly. While regular employees adjust their commutes, truckers are often forced to push through unsafe conditions just to beat the HOS clock. Mechanical breakdowns. A blown tire, engine failure, or other unexpected issue can waste several hours. Yet HOS rules do not allow drivers to recover lost time. In most industries, employees have some control over their work environments. If a factory worker has a slow day, they still get paid. If an office worker has a meeting postponed, they reschedule without major consequences. But for truckers, every delay costs them money, and rigid HOS rules only make things worse. Trucking doesn't follow a fixed schedule. The trucking industry does not operate on standardized work shifts. While most industries have structured hours, e.g., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., trucking operates on demand-driven schedules, which vary based on freight availability. Some loads are ready at 6 a.m., while others may not be available until midnight. Truckers must be able to adjust accordingly. Delivery windows. A trucker may have an appointment at 2 a.m., requiring them to drive through the night. A rigid one-size-fits-all HOS rule does not account for such scheduling demands. Crossing time zones. A trucker driving coast to coast might cross multiple time zones, making set rest periods impractical compared to local jobs. Truckers often need the flexibility to rest when they feel tired and drive when they are alert, rather than being forced into artificial rest periods dictated by a clock. 3. The pressure to maximize productivity. Unlike hourly employees who get paid regardless of productivity, truckers are paid per mile or per load. This means every delay equals lost income. Every forced break is time wasted. Every mile not driven, money left on the table. HOS rules create situations where truckers are forced to stop driving even when they feel fine, reducing overall earnings. In contrast, other industries allow workers to work overtime hours to compensate for lost time. Example: a construction worker who gets delayed by rain may stay late to make up lost time. A trucker delayed by a shipper loses driving time but is not allowed to extend their workday, even if they are still well rested and capable of continuing safely. This inability to make up for uncontrollable delays puts financial stress on truckers and disrupts the entire supply chain. 4. The physical and mental toll of trucking. Most jobs don't require employees to sit behind a wheel for 11 plus hours per day, constantly making split-second safety decisions. Trucking is a physically and mentally demanding profession that requires continuous focus and concentration. A single mistake can be fatal. Long hours of isolation. Drivers often go weeks without seeing family. Erratic sleep schedules. Truckers don't have the luxury of sleeping in the same bed every night. Rigid HOS rules force drivers to take breaks at prescribed times, which may not align with their natural fatigue levels. This leads to forced rest when they're not tired and driving when they may need more sleep. ironically increasing the risk of fatigue-related crashes. The impact on public safety. The inflexible nature of HOS regulations and ELD enforcement can increase safety risks rather than reduce them. Some key dangers include truckers rushing to beat the clock. Since the 14-hour clock does not stop, many truckers speed or skip breaks just to maximize driving time. Forced driving in unsafe conditions. Some truckers are forced to drive through blizzards, hurricanes, or heavy traffic just because the ELD clock doesn't allow them to stop and wait for safer conditions. Stopping in unsafe locations. HOS rules often force drivers to stop wherever their time runs out, which could be on a dangerous roadside instead of a safe rest area. These issues demonstrate that trucking requires situational awareness and flexibility, not rigid, blanket regulations. 6. Why flexibility is key. The trucking industry does not fit into the standard labor model, and its regulations should not be based on traditional work structures. Truckers need the ability to adjust their schedules based on real-world conditions rather than an arbitrary clock. Proposed flexible solutions. Pausing the 14-hour clock when a driver is stuck waiting for freight. Allowing truckers to take breaks when they feel tired, rather than after an arbitrary number of hours. Providing emergency flexibility for dangerous conditions, severe weather, road closures, etc. Letting drivers make up lost time caused by delays, just like workers in other industries can work overtime. Trucking requires a new approach. Trucking is not a normal job, and applying rigid, standardized rules to a dynamic, unpredictable industry is both inefficient and dangerous. Truckers should be given more control over their workdays, allowing them to operate in ways that maximize both safety and productivity. The push for flexibility in trucking isn't just about convenience. It's about safety, fairness, and common sense. But for truckers, the consequences of rigid rules aren't just theoretical. They play out in real-life situations every day, often in ways that make their jobs harder and the roads more dangerous. In the next chapter, we'll step into the lives of truckers facing these challenges firsthand. From being forced to drive in a blizzard to losing entire workdays due to a ticking clock, these real stories expose the flaws of the system in ways no statistic ever could. Stay tuned for Chapter 5, Real Life Stories.